Hey everyone, get ready for a deep dive into a world that's both fascinating and maybe a little bit spooky.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, we're tackling the book on mediums today by Allan Kardec.
Ah, classic.
Published back in 1861, it's considered like the foundation of Spiritism.
It really
And
is.
let me tell you, this book doesn't waste any time.
No, it jumps right in.
It jumps right into the practical stuff, like how-to guides for aspiring mediums.
Like a user's manual for the spirit world.
Okay, a user's manual, that's one way to put it.
Right.
But before we break out the Ouija board, I'm guessing Kardec lays down some ground rules.
Oh, absolutely. He's very specific about that.
Like what?
Well, he's careful to separate what he calls the extraordinary from the supernatural.
So not just because something seems unbelievable means it breaks the laws of nature.
Exactly. It's more nuanced than that.
So less about magic wands, more about a different kind of understanding.
Yeah, you could say that. He wanted people to think critically, be open-minded, but not gullible.
Makes sense. So what kind of extraordinary stuff are we talking about?
Well, he gets into categorizing different types of spirit manifestations.
Manifestations. Okay, now you're just using big words.
But it's cool stuff. We're talking like table turning, spirit writing,
Okay, that's kind of creepy.
Even objects moving on their own, what we might call poltergeist activity.
See, now you're just messing with me.
But that's what he wrote about.
I mean, imagine reading this back then, finding out your house might be haunted.
Oh, I'm sure it caused quite a stir.
But he wasn't trying to freak people out, was he?
No, but he did have some pretty serious warnings about messing with mediumship without, supervision.
So it's not all fun and games in the spirit world.
There can be risks, for sure. Think about it. You wouldn't perform surgery on yourself just from reading a book, right?
That's a terrifying thought.
Right. Communicating with spirits, it's delicate.
So where does this paraspirit thing come in? I've heard that word before.
Ah, yes, the paraspirit. It's a key concept.
But what does it even mean?
Think of it like the spirit's aura, or even like their outfit.
Their outfit.
It's the link between the spirit and the physical world, see? It reflects their emotional state, their spiritual energy.
So you're saying if we could see a spirit, we could kind of read their vibe.
That's what Kardec suggests. And it gets even more wild. He talks about a hierarchy in the spirit world, some spirits being stronger than others.
Stronger, how so?
Like powerful enough to influence, even enslave other spirits.
Whoa, enslaved spirits. That's intense. I thought it was all harps and angels over there.
It's definitely more complicated than that. And it shows how careful you have to be.
Okay, you've officially creeped me out now.
Sorry, but it's important stuff to consider.
No, you're right. This is fascinating stuff. It makes you rethink those ghost hunting shows,
Oh, tell me about it.
The ones where they're like provoking spirits, trying to get a reaction.
The worst. Remember what we said about our thoughts attracting certain energies?
Right, like you're going to attract what you put out there.
Exactly. Fear, anger,
Mm.
that just brings in the wrong crowd.
Not the kind of spirits you want hanging around.
Not at all. And, that leads to another thing. Kardec stresses being ethical as a medium.
Ethical. So just because you can talk to spirits doesn't mean you should use it to, like, win the lottery.
Huh, right. He saw mediumship as a gift, and with any gift comes responsibility.
Don't abuse the gift, basically.
Exactly. It's about learning, growing, helping people understand this other side.
Not about getting rich or manipulating people.
Exactly. It's a serious thing,
So how do you know who to trust? Like, if a spirit's giving you advice, how can you tell if they're legit?
Well, Kardec says, pay attention to what they're saying.
Like, does it sound shady?
Kinda. Does it feel loving, wise, or does it feel off, manipulative?
Like, if a spirit tells me to move to Vegas and bet it all on red.
Huh. Maybe get a second opinion. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, don't engage.
Good advice in general, I'd say.
Right. Same rules apply in the spirit world as in the real one. Be careful who you trust.
Speaking of spooky things, what about haunted houses? What did Kardec think about those?
Ooh, good question. He had some really interesting ideas about hauntings.
Like what?
Well, he didn't always think it was tied to a specific event, like a murder or something.
You mean it's not always about a vengeful ghost hanging around?
Sometimes, maybe, but he thought some places were just naturally more spiritually active.
Spiritually active, like a hot spot for spirits.
Yeah, kind of. And here's the thing. He also thought our thoughts could influence that energy.
You mean like if I'm always thinking about scary stuff, I'm going to make my house more appealing to ghosts?
Exactly. He's all about creating positive, harmonious vibes in your home.
Makes sense to me. But let's say you do find yourself in a haunted house. What then?
Well, first of all, don't panic.
Easier said than done.
I know, I know. But Kardec said, approach it with calmness, respect, try to understand.
Understand. They're ghosts.
But they might just be confused, disoriented, not even realize they're stuck.
So no need to call the Ghostbusters just yet.
Not necessarily. Talk to them, see what's up. Or, if you're not comfortable, find an experienced medium.
So more like a helping hand than a ghost trap.
Exactly. Compassion and understanding go a long way, even in the spirit world.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better, actually. But going back to the paraspirit for a sec.
Yeah, what about it?
You said it's like their outfit, right? But can it change?
That's the thing, it can. It reflects their emotional state, remember?
So if a spirit's feeling peaceful, it's going to look different than if it's angry.
Right. A peaceful spirit might have a brighter aura. A troubled one might seem darker, shadowy.
So it's like a mood ring, but for spirits. That's so cool.
Right. And there's one more thing. Kardec says the paraspirit doesn't always have to be human-shaped.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying spirits can look like anything?
It depends on how they want to manifest, how they want to interact with our world.
So those stories of objects moving on their own, that could be the paraspirit at work.
That's what Kardec thought. Pretty wild, huh?
Wild is an understatement. This is definitely making me see things in a new light. You know, it's funny how we always go straight to spooky stuff when we think about spirits.
Right. It's like our default setting.
But what if it's really just about, like, energy and connection?
That's a really good point. Kardec was big on the idea that spiritual growth doesn't just stop after you die.
Like it continues on the other side.
Totally. It's a journey, even in the spirit world. So these spirits, they're not so different from us, really.
That's kind of a nice way to think about it. Makes them less scary, you know?
Definitely. More like neighbors. Maybe not always the quiet kind, though.
Speaking of neighbors, there's this whole thing about animals in the book on mediums. Blew my mind a little.
Oh, yeah. Kardec was way ahead of his time on that one.
He didn't just mention it in passing either.
No, he dedicated a whole chunk of the book to animals and the spirit world.
It's like he's saying our pets could be talking to ghosts and we wouldn't even know.
Well, not talking exactly, but sensing them, interacting with them on some level.
So, my dog freaking out at seemingly nothing, maybe he, picking up on a vibe.
Could be. He said animals have this sensitivity we often miss. Remember the paraspirit.
The spirit outfit. What about it?
Kardec believed animals have them too. Not just humans.
Okay, hold up. You're saying my dog has a paraspirit? That's wild.
It does make you wonder, right? Like that whole sixth sense thing with animals.
Maybe it's not just weather patterns they're sensing. Maybe that's a whole other dimension.
Right. It makes you rethink consciousness, what it means to be alive, all of it.
Mind-blowing stuff. I gotta say, this whole deep dive into Kardec has been a wild ride.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
From spirit outfits and haunted houses to our pets being secret spirit mediums, it's a lot.
Kardec really threw open the doors on how we see the spirit world.
And he didn't shy away from the spooky stuff, but he always brought it back to respect, you know?
Totally, like tread lightly, this is serious stuff, but also stay curious.
Exactly. So, as Kardec would probably say, keep your minds open, your intentions good, and
don't be surprised if your dog starts barking at nothing. Might just be a friendly hello from the other side.
Haha. Okay, that's both hilarious and kind of terrifying. But on that note, until next time, everyone, keep exploring those big questions, and thanks for joining us for this deep dive.